Young Kevin Durant, smooth, deadly, unstoppable, a scoring machine from the moment he stepped into the league. In Seattle, he was Rookie of the Year, the lone bright spot on a team about to relocate. And when the franchise moved to Oklahoma City, Durant became the face of the Thunder, leading one of the most exciting young cores in NBA history. He was tall enough to shoot over anyone, skilled enough to score from anywhere, and for years, he was seen as the future of the league, the one player who might keep LeBron from owning the East and West. But what if I told you the Kevin Durant we saw in OKC wasn't quite the unstoppable force we remember? Yes, Durant was spectacular, MVP caliber seasons, scoring titles, and a trip to the finals before turning 24. But the truth is, the Thunder fell short. The fit wasn't always seamless. And for all of KD's brilliance, the road to a championship in OKC was filled with missed chances. This is the side of Kevin Durant's Thunder years no one talks about, until now. Kevin Durant entered the league as the number 2 pick in the 2007 NBA Draft, a 6'9", 19-year-old with a game built to score on anyone. In Seattle, he joined a franchise in flux, but instantly became its future. From the moment he stepped on the court, the smooth jumper, the length, the confidence, it was all there. Even on a struggling team, Durant's rookie season gave fans glimpses of the superstar he was destined to become. But Durant's first 8 games of his rookie season weren't perfect. He averaged just over 20 points a night, but he struggled to score efficiently, hitting only 38% of his shots. To make matters worse, the SuperSonics lost all 8 of those games. Durant was obviously a super talented player, but he was the SuperSonics' best player by default. The supporting cast featured Jeff Green, Nick Collison, Chris Wilcox, Wally Szczerbiak, and Earl Watson, a group that, no matter how well Durant played as a rookie, was destined for the lottery. By the midway point of the season, Durant was averaging 19.3 points and 4.2 rebounds, while shooting 40% from the field and just 29.6% from 3. Solid numbers for any rookie, but nowhere near the ultra-efficient Durant we know today. Still, there were flashes of stardom. On December 7th, he exploded for 35 points in a win over the Milwaukee Bucks. Unfortunately, moments like that weren't too common for a 19-year-old Durant. At the midway mark, the SuperSonics sat at just 9-32, and before the season even began, every Sonics fan knew the team was going to leave the city. That made it even more painful for Seattle to watch their franchise struggle through what would be their final year. The Sonics' lows only deepened in the second half. They endured a 14-game losing streak from December 31st to January 27th, and somehow, that wasn't even their worst skid of the year. From March 4th to April 4th, Seattle dropped 17 games straight. Still, as the season wound down, Durant delivered 2 performances that made stardom feel inevitable. On April 6th, he erupted for 37 points, 9 assists, and 8 rebounds to lead the Sonics to a 151-147 double overtime win over Carmelo Anthony's Denver Nuggets. 10 days later, in the final game of the season, he torched the Golden State Warriors for 42 points on 17 of 25 shooting. Durant finished his rookie campaign averaging 20.3 points and 4.4 rebounds on 43% shooting and 28.8% from 3. The Sonics ended at 20-62, with the franchise set to move to Oklahoma City the following year. Durant's rookie season wasn't completely legendary by the numbers, but the talent was undeniable, and it was enough for him to earn Rookie of the Year honors. You could tell he was going to be a star, even if no one yet knew he was on his way to becoming one of the greatest scorers the game has ever seen. And trust me, we're going to talk more about KD becoming an all-time great. But first, go ahead and subscribe. I really want to get to 5K subscribers, so help a guy out. Before year 2 got underway for Kevin Durant, the SuperSonics completed their move to Oklahoma City, rebranding as the Thunder. It was the first full-time pro team the city had ever seen, and fans were eager to watch a young core grow into something special. The first major move of that offseason was drafting ultra-athletic UCLA guard Russell Westbrook. Westbrook was considered a somewhat surprising pick at number 4, as most mocks had him going a bit lower. But the Thunder saw the chance to pair Durant with an explosive backcourt partner, a defensive menace and a high-motor athlete with the potential to develop into a playmaking star. With their young backcourt, the Thunder hoped to improve on their final season in Seattle, but that didn't happen. They opened the year 1-12, and while Durant showed progress, averaging about 22 points, 4 rebounds, and shooting 46.2% from the field and 42.1% from 3, the team still looked far from competitive. Coming off a 20-win season, the front office decided it was time for a change. Head coach PJ Carlesimo was fired, and assistant coach Scott Brooks was promoted to interim head coach. Brooks was known as a player's coach with a more offense-focused approach, and while nobody expected him to turn the Thunder into contenders overnight, fans hoped this change would speed up the rebuilding process. And sure enough, under new head coach Scott Brooks, you could really see just how gifted Durant was as a scorer. In his first 22 games with Brooks at the helm, KD boosted his numbers to 24.5 points and 7 rebounds per game, a noticeable jump from his production under PJ Carlesimo. His efficiency climbed too, shooting 46.7% from the field and 84.9% from the line. One major change to his game was his three-point volume. In 93 games under Carlesimo, Durant attempted just 2.4 threes per game. In Brooks' first 22 games, that number jumped up to 4 attempts per night. Over the next 22 games, Durant went insane, averaging, you ready, 29.9 points, 7.7 rebounds, and 3.7 assists, while shooting 51.8% from the field, 45.2% from 3, and 87.6% from the line. Yeah, you heard that right. I do have to acknowledge some of this was simply a 20-year-old phenom getting more comfortable against NBA competition. But Brooks' coaching played a role. His offense was simple, often built around isolations for Durant, putting the ball in his hands more and trusting him to make plays. But while Brooks' approach was doing wonders for KD's development, the team around him was still far from competitive. In Brooks' first 44 games, the Thunder won just 11. Durant was proving he could be an individual star, but he wasn't proving he could lead a team to success. And that pattern would continue. By the end of the season, the Thunder still had plenty of questions to answer. They finished 23-59, only a slight improvement over their 20-win season the year before. Durant's numbers took a noticeable leap, and he, along with rookie teammate Russell Westbrook, stood out as the team's brightest spots. While Durant wasn't named an All-Star or selected to an All-NBA team, his production was on that level, 25.3 points and 6.5 rebounds per game on efficient shooting. After just 2 seasons, his talent was undeniable. The league had never seen a player quite like him, a 6'9", or even taller, scorer with the combination of skill, touch, and versatility. Still, leading a team to just 43 combined wins over 2 seasons was a blemish on his young resume, even if he was only 20 years old. Before the 2009-2010 season, the Thunder made a move that surprised some people. Holding the 3rd overall pick in the draft, many expected them to target a big man or a defensive-minded guard to balance out Durant and Westbrook. Instead, they selected James Harden, a crafty, offensively gifted shooting guard out of Arizona State. Harden wasn't the most explosive athlete in the draft, but he was polished, an elite passer for his position, a strong shooter, and a high IQ playmaker. Sam Presti and the Thunder believed his skill set was the perfect complement to their young stars, even if the pick wasn't what most mock drafts predicted. There was a different energy around this Thunder team before KD's 3rd year in the NBA got underway. The relocation was behind them, the core was intact, and the culture was starting to take shape. They were young. Durant was just 21, Westbrook 20, Harden a rookie, but everyone knew they were talented. The question wasn't if they'd be good, it was when. Most people expected the Thunder to take a step forward this season, but not make the leap to playoff contention. The general prediction for them was winning somewhere around 35 games, maybe sniffing the postseason in a year or two. Nobody thought it would happen this season, but this young Thunder team would quickly shock the NBA world, all led by a 21-year-old Kevin Durant. Through the first 9 games, the Thunder sat at 5-4, and Durant was averaging over 27 points a game. His efficiency was slightly down, but you could clearly see a more aggressive KD, taking more shots than in either of his first 2 seasons. Those first 9 games also showcased Russell Westbrook's emergence as an ultra-versatile point guard, putting up 15.4 points, 7.7 assists, and 4.9 rebounds a night. It was just a hot start though, right? Surely a team led by a 21-year-old couldn't make any real noise. Or could they? Over the next 45 games, Durant went absolutely insane, averaging over 30 points per game while shooting near the gold standard 50-40-90 splits. During that span, the Thunder went 28-17, including a 9-game win streak. For the first time in his young career, Durant wasn't just putting up numbers, he was leading a team to winning basketball, and he was doing it at just 21 years old. In that stretch, he had standout games that turned heads across the league, like dropping 38 points and 10 rebounds on Dwayne Wade in the Miami Heat, and torching the Golden State Warriors for 45 points on an absurd 16 of 21 shooting. Durant was shocking the NBA world, and his name was beginning to surface more and more in the league's biggest conversation. As the season came to a close, Durant didn't slow down. He finished the year averaging 30.1 points per game, claiming his first scoring title, and he did it while playing all 82 games. His breakout season earned him a spot on the All-NBA first team, and in most years, it would have been enough to win MVP. But that season, LeBron put together one of the best campaigns of his career and took home the award. As a team, the Thunder ended up 50-32, an incredible leap from the 23 wins they had the year before. But in a Western Conference stacked with contenders, that record only secured them the A seed, setting up a first-round matchup against the defending champion Los Angeles Lakers, led by Kobe Bryant. I'm going to be hard on Kevin Durant here. He flat out wasn't good enough in this series. Yes, he was just 21 years old, but the Thunder had a chance to make a statement with a first-round upset over the defending champion Lakers, and Durant didn't play well enough to make it happen. In Game 1, Durant shot just 7 of 24 from the field, including 3 of 12 in the second half. The Thunder only lost by 8, but KD didn't deliver like a star should. I get it. It was his first playoff game, and the pressure was different, but Westbrook was in the same exact situation and thrived, scoring 24 points on 10 of 16 shooting. In Game 2, Durant looked better early, dropping 19 points on 8 of 14 shooting in the first half, as the Thunder led by 2 at the break. But in the second half, he crumbled, going 4 of 12 with 4 turnovers. The Thunder lost by just 3, and if KD had stepped up, they could have stolen a game on the road. Game 3 was statistically better, 29 points and 19 rebounds, but he still shot just 8 of 24. The Thunder won 101-96. In Game 4, Durant played well enough to win again, scoring 22 on 6 of 12 shooting as OKC evened the series 2-2. Looking back, it's clear the Thunder had a real shot. I know the Lakers were the defending champs, and yes, the Thunder were incredibly young, but they had the talent. If Durant had played like the superstar he was in either Game 1 or Game 2, the series could have gone very differently. Instead, in Game 5, he posted just 17 points on 5 of 14 shooting. And in a must-win Game 6 at home, he went 5 of 23 as OKC lost by 1 point. Multiple games were close enough for KD to swing the outcome, but he didn't. He finished the series shooting just 35% from the field and 28.6% from 3, with 3 of the 4 losses coming in tight games. Yes, again, he was only 21, but the Thunder had a chance to make real noise, and Durant didn't play good enough, and that matters. It's impossible to ignore how incredible Durant's regular season was. A scoring title, All-NBA first team honors, and leading the Thunder to 50 wins at just 21 years old. But in the playoffs, his production dipped, his efficiency plummeted, and the Thunder's upset chances vanished. And this wouldn't be the last time that postseason Kevin Durant failed to match his regular season brilliance. With all that being said, this season gave Thunder fans a lot of hope. The team was still very young, and going into the 2010-2011 season, the Thunder made virtually no moves, trusting their young core would continue to improve. Despite being seen as a team on the rise, they weren't being viewed as legitimate finals contenders just yet, with teams like Miami, Los Angeles, Boston, Chicago, and others ranked ahead of them. But in the 2010-2011 regular season, the Thunder would again surpass expectations. Through their first 41 games, they went 28-13. Looking like one of the most dangerous young teams in the league. Durant averaged 28.4 points and 6.2 rebounds in that stretch, earning another All-Star selection. Westbrook elevated his game as well, putting up 22.4 points, 8.5 assists, and 5.1 rebounds, earning his first All-Star nod. Other young pieces like James Harden, Serge Ibaka, and Thabo Sefolosha stepped up, giving Oklahoma City a balanced mix of scoring, defense, and depth. By mid-season, the Thunder had gone from a promising young squad to a team no one wanted to face in the 2011 playoffs. And as the season went on, the Thunder only looked more dangerous. Durant had some masterclass performances, like January 26th when he exploded for 47 points and 18 rebounds in an overtime win against the Timberwolves, and February 2nd when he dropped 43 points and 10 rebounds against Chris Paul and the New Orleans Hornets. At just 22 years old, Durant looked ready to carry the Thunder on a deep playoff run. By the end of the regular season, his averages sat at 27.7 points and 6.8 rebounds. On paper, those were slightly lower than the year before, but everyone watching knew Durant was still getting better. The Thunder finished with 55 wins and secured the 4th seed in the Western Conference, meaning for the first time ever, Oklahoma City would host a home playoff series. In round 1, the Thunder faced the 5th-seeded Denver Nuggets. The Nuggets had won 50 games in the regular season, but 32 of those wins came before they traded star forward Carmelo Anthony to the Knicks. Even without Melo, this was still a solid squad, just not one good enough to keep up with a surging young Thunder team. Oklahoma City took the series in 5 games, and Durant played like a complete star. He led both teams in scoring every single game, opening with a 39-point performance in Game 1. For the series, he averaged 32.4 points and 5.6 rebounds, proving that in just his second playoff series, he was capable of bringing his regular season dominance into the postseason. In round 2, the Thunder matched up against a slightly older, more physical Memphis Grizzlies team. It was a clash of styles. The Grizzlies generated most of their offense through their rugged big men, while the Thunder relied on their young perimeter stars. Memphis came in as the number 8 seed, fresh off a huge upset win of the top-seeded Spurs in 6 games, with Zach Randolph and Marc Gasol proving too much even for Tim Duncan to handle. In Game 1 of this series, KD delivered. He scored 33 points and grabbed 11 rebounds on 11 of 24 shooting, but the Grizzlies still stole a 114-101 win behind Randolph's 34-10. The Thunder answered in Game 2 with a 111-102 win, as Durant scored 26 points. Memphis responded by taking Game 3, but in Game 4, Westbrook and Durant exploded for a combined 75 points, with KD going for 35 and 13, tying the series 2-2 heading back to OKC. In the pivotal Game 5, the Thunder dominated, 99-72, allowing Durant to rest the entire fourth quarter after scoring 19. Game 6 was Durant's worst of the series. He had just 11 points on 3 of 14 shooting in a loss, setting up a win-or-go-home Game 7. Under pressure, KD delivered a masterpiece, 39 points on 13 of 25 shooting to send OKC to the Western Conference Finals. For the series, he averaged 26.4 points and 9.1 rebounds, raising his games in the moments that mattered most. Next up, the Western Conference Finals, where the young Thunder would face the red-hot 3-seeded Dallas Mavericks. This Mavericks team had just swept the defending back-to-back champion Los Angeles Lakers, and everything seemed to be clicking. Led by a 32-year-old Dirk Nowitzki, they simply outmatched OKC. With that being said, Durant did have moments. In Game 1, he went toe-to-toe with Dirk, dropping an efficient 40 points, but Dirk had 48, and the Mavs still took the win. KD followed that with 24 points in a Game 2 victory, and over the series, he honestly played pretty good, averaging 28 points and 9.4 rebounds. But Dirk played better. He finished the series averaging 32.2 points, 5.8 rebounds, and shot more efficiently than Durant. The year before, Durant was outplayed by a prime Kobe Bryant. Now, he was outplayed by a prime Dirk Nowitzki. At just 22, KD still had time. But the reality was, if he wanted to win a championship in OKC, at some point he would have to outplay an all-time great in their prime, and he hadn't done that yet. Still, this playoff run was a huge step forward. For the first time, the Thunder had shown they could compete deep in the May, and both Durant and the team were only getting better. By the end of the 2010-2011 season, Kevin Durant's rise to superstardom was undeniable. He had captured his second straight scoring title, been named to the All-NBA first team for the second year in a row, and led Oklahoma City all the way to the Western Conference Finals. Many analysts now ranked him among the top 3 to 5 players in the league, a status that brought sky-high expectations for what was next. With the Thunder's young core only getting better, fans and media alike saw the 2011-2012 season as the year Durant could take his biggest step yet toward a championship. But before we talk about that 2011-2012 season, go ahead and subscribe. That's the last time I'll ask, I promise. Going into the 2011-2012 season, the Thunder once again stayed the course. No splashy free agent signings, no blockbuster trades, but their young core was still intact. And with Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook, James Harden, and Serge Ibaka all another year older, expectations were higher than ever. Odds makers gave Oklahoma City the 4th highest championship odds in the league. But this wasn't going to be a normal NBA season. A dispute between the players' union and team owners over the new collective bargaining agreement resulted in a lockout, pushing the season start date back to Christmas Day. Instead of the usual 82 games, teams would play a condensed 66-game schedule. That meant less rest, more back-to-backs, and a season where depth and conditioning could decide everything. Early in the 2011-2012 season, the Thunder proved they were built for the chaos of a lockout year. They opened with a 16-3 record, led by Kevin Durant's 26.3 points and 7.6 rebounds per game on an efficient 51% shooting. By now, Durant was doing exactly what everyone expected, dominating the regular season on a nightly basis. In recent years, he'd shown he could pair elite production with team success, and this year was no different. Oklahoma City finished the shortened 66-game schedule with 47 wins, locking up the number 2 seed in the Western Conference. Durant claimed his 3rd straight scoring title, and for the second time finished runner-up in MVP voting, behind LeBron James. Now the question was whether Durant could turn regular season dominance into another deep playoff run, and prove he could do it consistently. In round 1, the Thunder got their shot at revenge against the Dallas Mavericks, the same team that ended their run a year ago. But this wasn't the same Dallas team. They'd lost defensive anchor Tyson Chandler. Several key veterans had declined in production, and the condensed season had taken its toll. OKC made quick work of them, sweeping the series 4-0. Durant went head-to-head with an all-time great in Dirk Nowitzki, still near his prime, and this time came out on top, a huge step forward in his career. Next up was the Los Angeles Lakers. Despite underachieving in the regular season, the Lakers were still the number 3 seed and had Kobe Bryant, making them a dangerous opponent. But once again, Durant and the Thunder overpowered their matchup, winning in 5 games. Through those first 2 playoff series, Durant averaged 26.7 points, 8.1 rebounds, while shooting 49% from the field and 39% from 3. This was the first postseason where he was actually scoring at the same efficient rate as his regular seasons. Going into this playoff run, Durant's career postseason averages were just 42.3% from the field and 32.6% from 3. So this was a real breakthrough. In just 2 rounds, he had gone head-to-head with 2 legends, Dirk Nowitzki and Kobe Bryant, and in most areas had outplayed them. Now the only thing standing between Durant and his first ever finals appearance was another legend, Tim Duncan and the San Antonio Spurs. The Spurs entered as the number 1 seed in the West, which meant OKC had to start the series on the road. Never an easy task against a Greg Popovich team. And sure enough, the Thunder dropped both games in San Antonio, falling into an 0-2 hole. Durant was doing his part, averaging 29 points through those first 2 games, but the team needed more. Back in Oklahoma City, the Thunder responded. Game 3 was a 20-point blowout win, and in Game 4, Durant went off, scoring 28 of his 36 points in the second half alone to tie the series 2-2. Then came a pivotal Game 5 in San Antonio, and Durant delivered again. He dropped 22 second-half points on 9 of 13 shooting, leading OKC to a 108-103 win and putting them one win away from the NBA Finals. In Game 6, Durant closed the deal. He poured in 34 points with 20 coming after halftime, while adding 14 rebounds and 5 assists. 3 straight games with 20-plus point second halves, all wins. For the series, Durant averaged 29.5 points on 53.2% shooting, proving he wasn't just maintaining his regular season production, he was elevating it when it mattered most. At just 23 years old, Kevin Durant had led his team past Dirk Nowitzki, Kobe Bryant, and Tim Duncan in the same postseason. And now, for the first time in his career, he was headed to the NBA Finals. The Thunder were set to face the reloaded Miami Heat, with LeBron James desperate to capture his first championship. Heading into the finals, the Thunder were actually favored. After taking down Dallas, the Lakers, and the Spurs, people believed their youth, talent, and momentum would carry them to a title. Game 1 seemed to prove it. Durant scored 36 points, 23 in the second half, and OKC took a 1-0 series lead, 3 wins away from the franchise's first championship. But after that, the dream collapsed. Miami won 4 straight. I could nitpick Durant for losing this series, but the truth is, he showed up. He averaged 30.6 points, shot nearly 55% from the field and almost 40% from 3. He played well enough to win a championship. The problem was deeper. The Thunder had a critical flaw, one Miami had already fixed. For the series, OKC shot just 30% from 3, while the Heat shot 43%. And if you take away Durant's shooting, the Thunder shot just 19 for 72 from deep. That's just 26%. And here's where it gets baffling. Instead of addressing that flaw in the offseason, the Thunder made it worse. They refused to give James Harden, one of their only reliable shooters, and a 22-year-old coming off 18.5 points per game on 61% from 3 in the conference finals, the contract he wanted. Over roughly $5 million, they traded him to Houston for Kevin Martin. Martin was solid, but this was a contender, willingly parting ways with a 22-year-old scoring machine entering his prime right after getting to the brink of a title. It left everyone questioning just how serious the Thunder were about actually finishing the job. By now, heading into the 2012-2013 season, Kevin Durant had proven he could lead a team to big things. The Thunder were expected to win 60-plus games and seriously contend for a championship. They delivered on the first part, winning 60 games, the most since the franchise moved to OKC, and Durant put together arguably his best statistical season yet. He averaged 28 points per game, joined the exclusive 50-40-90 club, and posted the most points per game of any player to ever achieve that feat. In fact, it was one of the most efficient high-volume scoring seasons by a perimeter player in NBA history. Despite being the #1 seed in the West, the Thunder weren't title favorites. Miami, coming off a 66-win season and a 27-game win streak, held that spot. Still, OKC entered the playoffs with serious momentum. Their first opponent was the #8 seed Houston Rockets, led by former Thunder guard James Harden. In his first season in Houston, Harden averaged 26, 6, and 5, further proving OKC's decision not to re-sign him was a huge mistake. In this series, Game 1 was a blowout. OKC won 120-91, but in Game 2, disaster struck. Midway through the second quarter, Russell Westbrook brought the ball past half court, ready to call a timeout. And then, insert Patrick Beverley.
Going to block the shot, he needs to go to the front of the rim, pick up that garbage.
42-41, and Westbrook hobbling away.
Beverly went for the steal just as the timeout was called, and he actually got part of the knee of Russell Westbrook. He is really...
Dirty or not, let's be real. It was dirty. This play tore Westbrook's meniscus. Westbrook somehow finished the game, helping OKC to win 105-102, but the injury ended his postseason. And just like that, OKC's championship hopes took a massive hit. With Westbrook out, Durant had to carry the load, and he did his best to come through. In Game 3, he dropped 41 points and grabbed 14 rebounds in a road win. Even in Games 4 and 5, both Thunder losses, Durant scored 38 and 36 points. The Thunder were up 3-2 heading to Houston, and KD closed the series with 27 points in a 103-97 win. For the series, Durant averaged 32.5 points and 7.8 rebounds, proving he could produce monster numbers without Westbrook. But without their all-star point guard, OKC entered round 2 extremely vulnerable. In that series, OKC matched up with the 5th-seeded Memphis Grizzlies. And make no mistake, this was a dangerous team. They won 56 games in the regular season, had 3 players make an All-NBA defensive team, Tony Allen, Marc Gasol, and Mike Conley, and featured Zach Randolph, an all-star that year. Without Russell Westbrook, the reality was simple. The Grizzlies were the better team, and they proved it. The Thunder won Game 1 at home, 93-91, behind 35 points from Durant. But after that, Memphis took control, winning 4 straight to close out the series in a gentleman's sweep. This is where I have to be a little nitpicky with KD. Yes, I've already acknowledged that OKC's championship hopes ended the moment Westbrook was ruled out. But even with that context, Durant didn't maintain an elite level throughout the series. He started hot with 36 and 35 in games 1 and 2, but over the final 2 games, both winnable, he shot just 15 for 48 combined. In a Game 4 overtime loss, Durant went 10 for 27 from the field, including just 2 for 13. Yes, 2 for 13 in the fourth quarter in overtime. In Game 5, with the season on the line, Durant finished 5 for 21. Yes, the Grizzlies were an elite defensive team, and yes, the Thunder were offensively challenged without Russ, but Durant is one of the greatest scorers of all time. I believe he should have been able to do more to at least extend the series. But the truth is, even if Westbrook had stayed healthy, I don't think OKC wins the 2013 championship. Miami was dominant that year, and San Antonio would have been a tough test in the conference finals. But this loss wrapped up year 6 for Durant, a superstar still young, but at a point in his career where many expected him to have accomplished more. He still was a 3-time scoring champion, 4-time first-team All-NBA, and a Rookie of the Year winner, but his talent screamed MVP player and champion. Heading into the 2013-2014 season, the Thunder were once again considered title contenders, this time with the second best championship odds in the league. Many believed this could finally be the year Durant and OKC broke through, and Durant wasted no time showing why. He opened the year with 42 points in a win over Utah, and a week later, dropped 37 points, 7 rebounds, and 8 assists in a win against Detroit. Through the first 20 games, he was averaging 29 points, 8.4 rebounds, and 5 assists per game, scoring at an elite level while rebounding and facilitating better than ever. The Thunder were 16-4 and looking like the best team in basketball. But on December 27th, things took a turn. Russell Westbrook underwent another surgery on his right knee, the same knee injured in the 2013 playoffs, forcing him to miss significant time. Many expected OKC to slide in the standings. Instead, Durant went on one of the greatest regular season heaters in NBA history. In the 26 games Westbrook missed, Durant averaged 35 points, 7.5 rebounds, and 6.3 assists on 52.7% shooting from the field and 39.9% from 3. He had monster nights, 54 points against Golden State, 2 separate 48-point games, a 46-point outing, and several more 40-point performances. The Thunder went 19-7 in that stretch, and Durant became the runaway favorite for MVP. When Westbrook returned, Durant didn't slow down. He finished the season leading the league in scoring for the 4th time, averaging 32 points, 7.4 rebounds, and a career-high 5.5 assists. The Thunder finished 59-23, second in the West. This was without question Durant's best regular season to date, and that's saying something. He was rewarded with the 2014 NBA's Most Valuable Player award, delivering one of the most iconic acceptance speeches in league history.
You sacrificed for us. You the real MVP.
With Westbrook healthy and momentum on their side, the Thunder entered the playoffs ready to make another deep run. Their first-round opponent was the 7-seed Memphis Grizzlies, but this time, KD had his running mate back. This series was nothing short of a dogfight. In Game 1, OKC defended home court with a 100-86 win, behind 33 points, 8 rebounds, and 7 assists from Durant. But Memphis struck right back in Game 2, stealing a road win despite KD's 36 points and 11 rebounds. Game 3 was another grind. Durant had 30 points and 9 rebounds, but in the second half, he went just 4 of 14, and the Grizzlies edged out a 98-95 win to take a 2-1 series lead. Then came a huge Game 4 in Memphis, the kind of game where an MVP is expected to take over. Instead, Durant struggled badly. He shot just 5 for 21 from the field and 3 for 13 in the fourth quarter alone. Yet somehow, the Thunder survived, thanks to an unlikely hero. Six-man Reggie Jackson exploded for 32 points on 11 of 16 shooting, dragging OKC to a season-saving win. Without Jackson, the Thunder would have likely gone down 3-1 and seen their season end. This was a huge game, and Durant didn't deliver, but his role player gave him more life, more chances. And now, back home for Game 5, Durant was better, but still not at MVP standards. He scored 26 points on 10 for 24 shooting, turned it over 6 times, and in overtime, the Grizzlies escaped with a 100-99 win. Statistically, teams that win Game 5 in a 2-2 series advance over 80% of the time. The Thunder now faced an uphill battle, but with their backs against the wall in Game 6, Durant was locked in. He dropped 36 points and grabbed 10 rebounds as OKC blew out Memphis by 20 to force a Game 7. And in that winner-take-all matchup back in Oklahoma City, Durant sealed the deal. He was brilliant. 33 points on 12 of 18 shooting as the Thunder completed the comeback from down 3-2, winning 120-109 and moving on to the second round. Durant wasn't perfect in the Memphis series, far from it, but after being saved by Reggie Jackson in Game 4, he responded with his back against the wall, delivering in Games 6 and 7 to lead OKC to the second round. Waiting for them was the Lob City Clippers, led by Chris Paul and Blake Griffin, one of the most explosive duos in the league. This was no easy matchup. The Clippers had won 57 games in the regular season and were fresh off surviving a brutal 7-game battle against the young Golden State Warriors. This series had everything: highlight plays, superstar duels, and controversy. And from the very start, the pressure was on Durant to keep his MVP season alive. In Game 1, we didn't get an MVP KD type performance. He finished with 25 points, but only 9 came in the second half as the Clippers coasted to a 122-105 win. Chris Paul stole the show, putting up 32 points and 12 assists on an insane 12 of 14 shooting, easily the best player on the floor. Now it was Durant's turn to respond. In Game 2, that's exactly what he did. Durant put up 32 points, 10 rebounds, and 9 assists as the Thunder controlled the game from start to finish, winning 112-101 to even the series. Heading to Los Angeles, OKC knew they needed to steal at least one road game to take back home court advantage. So in Game 3, Durant came ready. He dropped 21 points in the first half, finished with 36 on 14 of 24 shooting, leading the Thunder to a 118-112 win. But in Game 4, the Clippers struck back, down 12 entering the fourth. They came back to win 101-99. Durant scored 40, but committed 7 costly turnovers in the second half. The series was tied 2-2. That set up a crucial Game 5. Last round, Durant struggled in this exact situation, and history repeated itself. He scored 27, but shot just 6 of 22. Luckily, Russell Westbrook took over, dropping 38 points, 23 of them in the second half, to push OKC to a dramatic 105-104 win. In Game 6 in Los Angeles, Durant bounced back in a big way. He dominated with 39 points and 16 rebounds, carrying the Thunder to a 104-98 win and a trip to the Western Conference Finals. Through 2 rounds, Durant was sensational. He'd had some crucial games where he did underperform, but when it came to closing out a series, he delivered like the MVP he was. Now came the real test, the 2014 Spurs. Fresh off a finals appearance the year before, San Antonio came back even better. They won 62 games, the most in the NBA. and were locked in on finishing the job this time. Games 1 and 2 in this conference finals weren't even close. The Spurs dominated the opener by 17 points, then embarrassed OKC in Game 2 with a 35-point blowout win. Durant struggled, shooting just 6 for 16 in the second game, while the Thunder as a team went 2 for 20 from 3. In these two games, the Thunder looked outmatched. San Antonio's ball movement and spacing shredded their defense, and their bigs simply couldn't handle Tim Duncan inside. But back in Oklahoma City, the Thunder fought back. Durant scored 25 in Game 3 and 31 in Game 4 as they defended home court to even the series. But those would be their only two bright spots. The Spurs closed out the next two games, winning the series in 6. Overall, in these 6 games, Durant didn't play poorly. He averaged 25.8 points and 7.7 rebounds, but those numbers didn't scream MVP. And once again, the flaws in OKC's roster construction were exposed. They surrounded Durant with mostly non-shooters, the exact type of team the Spurs could pick apart by packing the paint and daring role players to beat them from deep. Some of that came down to Durant himself. As great as he was as a scorer, he wasn't an elite playmaker, which meant the quality of looks for his teammates often wasn't there. When KD drove, it was usually to score, not to collapse the defense and kick it out. That only made the spacing problem worse. Still, the bulk of the blame fell on the Thunder front office. This was the same flaw that burned them in 2012, and they never addressed it. Now, with just 2 years left on Durant's contract, the once young and upcoming Thunder were in full win-now mode and still had no championship to show for it. Durant had built an incredible resume, an MVP, 4 scoring titles, 5 straight first-team All-NBAs, but he didn't have the one thing that mattered most, a championship. And while nobody knew it at the time, that would soon start to haunt him. Going into the 2014-2015 season, the Thunder were once again considered one of the favorites to win the championship. The offseason was quiet for OKC, no major signings or trades, which had become a frustrating pattern for the front office during this era. Still, with the superstar duo of Kevin Durant and Russell Westbrook, there was plenty of hope that this would finally be their year. But before the season even began, disaster struck. On October 12th, during training camp, Durant suffered a foot injury. 4 days later, on October 16th, he underwent surgery to repair what was diagnosed as a Jones fracture in his right foot. Initially, doctors projected an 8-week recovery, but later, some would say Durant should have sat out for 4 to 6 months to let the injury fully heal, because the only way to truly recover from this type of fracture is to completely stay off it. While Durant was sidelined, Westbrook also went down with a hand injury, and the Thunder stumbled out the gate with a 4-12 record. The poor start created pressure for Durant to rush back, and after just 7 weeks, he returned earlier than expected. It was a risky move, and the risk showed quickly. Durant played only 9 games before suffering a right ankle injury, the same foot where he had just had surgery. Just 2 weeks later, he returned again, but the cycle of soreness, short absences, and reappearances continued. In January, he missed more time due to discomfort, only to come back for a game against Memphis before sitting out the next 2. Even the All-Star break became a questionable decision point. Despite missing a number of games heading into the weekend and having a full week to either rest or consider another surgery, Durant still flew to Brooklyn to play 10 minutes in the All-Star game. He managed just 1 game after that, before shutting it down again, ultimately undergoing another surgery on his foot. The Thunder announced Durant was officially done for the season. Without Durant, the Thunder ended up missing the playoffs by just 1 game. The lone bright spot for OKC was Russell Westbrook's remarkable season. He averaged 28.1 points, 8.6 assists, and 7.3 rebounds, won the scoring title, and led the league in triple-doubles with 11. As for Durant, this was an impossible season to truly judge him. Even while battling injury, when he was on the court, he still looked like a star. Unfortunately, the Thunder were robbed of the chance to see what this roster could do at full strength this season. I'd argue this may have been their best shot. Their biggest threat, the Spurs, were having a down year. And while Golden State was phenomenal, a fully healthy Thunder team could have matched up with them in a series and potentially advanced. OKC's title hopes in 2015 were erased by injuries, And now the franchise was staring at an even bigger challenge. Kevin Durant had just 1 year left on his contract. The pressure was on. The next season had to be the year they made their run. And while the pressure was on for the Thunder, there was one problem. A problem that wore the number 30. Coming off a championship, the Golden State Warriors didn't just look better, they looked historically good. They started the season 24-0, the best start in NBA history. Don't get me wrong, OKC still looked dangerous. During that same stretch, they went 15-8, and this time Durant was healthy. But while the Thunder maintained a strong record, the Warriors maintained a historic pace. They finished the season 73-9, breaking the 1996 Bulls record, and they went 3-0 against the Thunder in the regular season. OKC ended 55-27, slightly below expectations, but still secured the 3 seed in the West, and they were entering the playoffs with experience, health, and the rest of their roster ready to make their move. In the first round, OKC drew the Dallas Mavericks, led by a 37-year-old Dirk Nowitzki. This wasn't much of a series. The Thunder won in 5 games, taking the last 3 games by double digits. Durant's shooting numbers weren't great, 37% from the field and 27% from deep, but Dallas simply didn't have the talent to keep up. That set up a second-round clash with a familiar rival, the San Antonio Spurs. The Spurs had quietly been dominant all year, winning 67 games and going an incredible 40-1 at home. As the number 2 seed, they had one of the strongest home court advantages in NBA history. In Game 1, that advantage showed. San Antonio won 124-92, with LaMarcus Aldridge dropping 38 and the team holding KD to just 16 points. But in Game 2, OKC struck back, stealing a 98-97 win behind Durant's 28 on 11 of 19 shooting. The series continued to swing. The Spurs took Game 3 100-96, then Durant answered in Game 4 with 41 points in a 111-97 Thunder win. Game 5 in San Antonio was the definition of an uphill battle. As mentioned, prior to this series, the Spurs had only lost 1 home game all year, and OKC had already found a way to steal one this series. Winning another road game wasn't possible, right? Wrong. The Thunder did the unthinkable, pulling out a 95-91 win behind Westbrook's 35 points, 11 rebounds, and 9 assists. Durant did struggle in this game. He shot 8 for 21 and had 5 turnovers, but when it came time to close things out in Game 6, he delivered. KD poured in 37 points as OKC won 113-99, eliminating the 67-win Spurs and punching their ticket to the Western Conference Finals, where the unanimous MVP Steph Curry and the 73-win Golden State Warriors awaited. Now everyone knows the story of how this series went. To start, everything was going OKC's way. They stole Game 1 on the road, even with Durant shooting just 10 of 30. In Game 2 though, Golden State responded, blowing them out 118-91 as KD committed 8 turnovers. But headed back to Oklahoma City, the Thunder had momentum, and they capitalized. In Game 3, Durant bounced back with 33 points on 10 of 15 shooting as the Thunder won by 28. Then in Game 4, they dominated again, this time by 24, putting them up 3-1 against the 73-win Warriors. At that point, history was on OKC's side. Less than 5% of teams had ever come back from a 3-1 deficit. This series looked over until it wasn't. In Game 5, Durant dropped 40, but it took him 31 shots to get there. The Warriors won 120-111. In Game 6, the collapse continued. KD again struggled, going 10 of 31, while Klay Thompson caught fire for 41 points, and Golden State, against all odds, forced a Game 7. Looking back, this was the game Oklahoma City had to win, but Westbrook and Durant combined to shoot 20 of 58, while the Thunder as a team went just 3 of 23 from 3. Their lack of shooting, a flaw that had haunted them for years, was fully exposed. It wasn't just the role players though. Durant, an elite scorer, was part of the problem too, shooting just 1 of 8 from deep. Back in Golden State for Game 7, the Warriors closed out the comeback, 96-88. The Thunder became just the 10th team in NBA history to blow a 3-1 lead. For Durant, the numbers told the story. He averaged 30 points, but only shot 42.3% from the field and 28.6% from three. Throughout his OKC career, the pattern was clear. In the regular season, he was one of the most efficient perimeter scorers ever, 48% from the field, 38% from deep. But in the playoffs, those numbers fell to 45.5% and 32.9%. That dip showed up in their biggest moments, and more than once, it likely cost the franchise a championship. Just weeks after the series, Durant made the most controversial decision of his career, leaving Oklahoma City to join the very team that had just beaten him. On one hand, the move made sense. The Thunder had failed to build a roster around him that fit the modern NBA. They surrounded him with defense and athleticism, but very little shooting, and the decision not to pay James Harden back in 2012 was still haunting them. In a lot of ways, OKC failed Durant, but on the other hand, choosing the 73-win Warriors, the team that had just embarrassed him, made it look like he was running from the challenge. That's why Durant's Thunder career is so complicated. He gave a brand new city a superstar to rally behind. He won an MVP, 4 scoring titles, and made the finals at just 23 years old, but he also came up short when it mattered most. To this day, Kevin Durant is one of the most polarizing players in NBA history, and that's because there are two sides to his story. I'm Derek Knows Ball, and my job is to tell you the other side.